How do the Cardinals extend the win streak this weekend at Virginia Tech? We'll tell you. You're locked on Louisville. Here we go.
You are Locked On Louisville, your daily podcast on the Louisville Cardinals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Card Nation, what's going on, everyone? Welcome into this Friday edition of the Locked On Louisville podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Pence. This is my sixth year covering U of L, fourth year hosting this show, and I want to take the time to thank you all for making us your first listen of the day. Just a reminder, Locked On Louisville free and available on all streaming services, including YouTube. Don't forget to leave a comment in the YouTube section below. Hit that subscribe button. Both are great ways to help the show continue to grow. Number 16, Louisville at Virginia Tech this weekend. We will identify main storylines, analyze the keys to victory over the Hokies. We'll also react to some men's basketball news. Kasean Pryor going to be out for the season opener against South Carolina State on Monday. So we got a lot of stuff to discuss. But first, this episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. The 6-1 Louisville Cardinals are now ranked 16th in the country. They will go back on the road, this time to play the Virginia Tech Hokies down in Blacksburg at Lane Stadium. I think the main storyline here is escaping the CW network curse. Yes, it's on that network again. I don't like it. You don't like it, but we've just got to deal with it. Kickoff at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Louisville, some of the same storylines here. Going to sound like a broken record. I don't care. It is what it is. But Virginia Tech, let's talk about what they've done since they stumbled out of the gate. And stumbled might be an understatement. They started out 0-3. To the point to where Brent Pryor got fired after that Old Dominion loss, 45-26. Things were looking bleak. Offense coordinator Philip Montgomery stepped in as the interim. They won their first 2 games of his quote-unquote tenure. They beat Wofford, and then they went to Raleigh and beat NC State. They then followed that up with a 2-game losing streak, 7-point loss to Wake, and 15-point loss to Georgia Tech on the road. Their most recent game, they defeated Cal 42-34. So they're 3-2 since Philip Montgomery stepped in, which was better than what they looked like to start out the year. Now they're 3-5. They're doing whatever they can to just reach bowl eligibility. It's going to be an uphill battle because 3 of their 4 remaining games are ranked opponents. And the one that's not ranked is at Florida State. Yeah, Florida State has stumbled, but I still think that they're going to be better than some of the other teams that they could play. So Louisville, Florida State, Miami, and Virginia. So 10.5-point spread. Pretty large in my opinion. Look, I think that the Cardinals have the talent. They've got the coaching to be able to go out there and beat Virginia Tech by double digits. I do believe that that very well could happen. Here's the thing, though. With how inconsistent this offense is, with how much this team plays down to its competition or plays up to its competition, you kind of wonder, is 10.5 too large of a spread? I think regardless of what the spread is, Louisville cannot overlook this game. It is a road game in conference play, which suggests that it's going to be tougher than normal. But also, this is a Virginia Tech team that has clearly turned something around. Even their losses, close loss to Wake Forest, who Wake Forest is 5-2. They're 2-2 in conference play. 15-point loss at Georgia Tech, who is the technically number 1 team in the conference at the moment. So Virginia Tech has been competitive and they've turned some things around. And I think that it's going to be similar to maybe not a full-on trap game like we thought it was going to be earlier on in the season. But hey, Louisville's got to play their game and they have to, insert their dominance and impose their will. They can't play down to Virginia Tech in this game. I think that it's going to be a good crowd at Lane Stadium. It's a stadium that the capacity is around 66,000. After Brent Pryor got fired, the Wofford crowd was around 57. The Wake Forest crowd was just under 66. And the Cal crowd, I think, was around 50, what was that, 54, if I'm not mistaken. So there will be a decent crowd at Lane Stadium. Enter Sandman. It's a really solid home atmosphere for the Hokies. Now that they're playing a ranked team, you best believe that Virginia Tech is going to do everything to get the crowd in this game. This might be the toughest atmosphere that they play in. Miami, you saw it. Might have been the toughest team they play, but at Hard Rock Stadium, that stadium wasn't even close to full capacity. SMU, I'm not sure what that's going to look like. But Virginia Tech probably is going to be the toughest atmosphere that you are going to play in. But seemingly, Louisville plays better on the road. They handled Miami on the road. They defeated Pittsburgh on the road. They've struggled more at home. So who knows? Maybe this is something that's a blessing in disguise. Louisville's like, yeah, man, we're road warriors. We like to play on the road, and it's not going to affect us. And I kind of hope that that's the case for this week. It's not good that you struggle at home, but I would like it if you were sharp on the road. That would be extremely awesome to see. I think the message remains the same. I think the storylines remain the same for this matchup. And like I said, it's going to sound a ton like a broken record, but I don't care at this point because you have everything to play for. ACC championship game, college football playoff hopes are on the line this week. They are on the line next week. They are on the line every single week that you only have one total loss. It's going to remain that way because if you lose, you take yourself out of the consideration for both. I fully believe it. Especially for the ACC championship game, but also for the playoff, because I'm not sure that a 10-2 ACC team that doesn't even make it to Charlotte is in consideration for the 12-team college football playoff. I just don't know that that's going to be the case. This is also an opportunity to crack into the top 15. You were sitting right there on the outside at number 16. So great opportunity there. You look back to 2023. The Cardinals dominated this matchup. The last time these two teams played, the Cardinals just completely assertive and dominant. They won 34-3 at Cardinal Stadium back on November 4th, so almost 2 years to the date when these two teams squared off last time. Now, they don't have the same head coach, but they do have the same quarterback with Kyron Drones. Things that Louisville specifically has to do if they want to win this game, if they want to get close to covering the spread. But I just don't think that you can overlook this team. Some will look at this and say, well, there's no reason that Louisville should even come close to losing it because the Hokies are 3-5. And my rebuttal would be is that I don't disagree entirely, but this team is better than the record suggests. They are more competitive if they hadn't started out 0-3. Now, look, I understand that they played South Carolina and they played Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is one of the best teams in the country now. But they did lose to Old Dominion. So, yeah, part of me is like, this team is better than maybe their record suggests, but at the same time, in the same breath, I'm like, well, here Louisville is. They're 6-1. They're 3-1 in conference play. The spread is 10.5. Like, there's no reason that the Cardinals should play down to competition. There's no reason why Louisville should be dealing with the same things that they dealt with against teams that aren't as talented as them. You know that the Cardinals get up for teams that maybe they're not supposed to beat on paper, but the Achilles heel for this team is that they haven't been able to avoid the trap game in both of the first 2 years under Jeff Brom. Is Virginia Tech a trap game? I don't know. I think that we have to be careful with that term because I don't think that every game that you go into expected to win is considered a trap game. This is one where you know it's challenging to play at this stadium. You know that Virginia Tech does some things that might make this game interesting. And you understand that Louisville plays down to their competition. This is an opportunity for Jeff Brom to get, I won't say a statement signature victory because I don't think that that can happen with a 3-5 opponent, but it can give you that feel-good type of victory. Going in there and dominating this Virginia Tech team would be huge for the morale going into the matchup against California, because every week from here on out is the most important week of the season. I don't care who you're playing. You can't overlook any opponent because you just allowed 1-6 Boston College, who had nothing going for them. You allowed them to come into Cardinal Stadium and make things interesting. You don't want to do that on the road at Virginia Tech, but how do you make sure that that doesn't happen? There's one thing specifically. There's three that I'm going to mention. There is one thing specifically that I am circling with red ink. I'm highlighting with my yellow highlighter, and I'm making sure if we are doing one thing on Saturday, it is this. We'll tell you what that is when we come back. You're tuned into Locked On Louisville, covering your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's also about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep the game moving forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward was Kyron Brown's critical fourth quarter rushing touchdown when the Cardinals up by 7. This put the game out of reach and ended up allowing Louisville to win this game by 14 points. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. Just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen of the day. Just a reminder, Locked On Louisville, free and available on all streaming services, including YouTube and TikTok, 5 days a week. Your team every day. Let's get into the keys to victory for the Cardinals. There are 3 that I'm going to identify and discuss. There is one specific one that I need to see. The Cardinals have to do an effective job at defending the mobile quarterback. And of course, that is Kyron Drones. You look back to 2023, the Cardinals didn't allow Drones to do much. Now, I believe that he was injured in this game, or he was injured coming into the game, and his availability was questionable. So maybe that had an effect on it, but Louisville completely shut him out in 2023. 12 of 21 passing, 69 passing yards, and an interception, no passing touchdowns, 11 carries for 6 yards. Yes, sack yardage is incorporated into that number, but they did not allow Virginia Tech's offense to do anything. The Hokies put up 3 points, and it was a blowout at Cardinal Stadium. Now you have the opportunity to do that again. No tooting in the backfield for Virginia Tech. They have now Marcellus Hawkins, who is averaging 6 yards per carry, 531 yards on the season. He only has 1 touchdown, but the senior from Oklahoma City has been a pretty effective running back for Virginia Tech. But Kyron Drones leads the team. He's actually the only player on the team that has multiple rushing touchdowns. He has 7 touchdowns on the season rushing, 21 combined, 7 on the ground. He's carried the ball 113 times for 414 yards, averaging just under 4 yards per carry. That will look even more impressive if you took out the sack yardage. So I know that Louisville hasn't had to go up against many mobile quarterbacks this year, at least not ones that can pass the ball. James Madison and Bowling Green didn't really have a passing offense. Grayson James was a backup that just got the start, going into the game before Louisville, or going into the game against Louisville was his first time as a full game starter. And he had an effective first half running the football. Louisville adjusted, got a couple sacks, and the yardage doesn't really look great, but he was effective. Kyron Drones is a different task. He is a player that you know what he does. If you allow him to create chaos and extend drives, extend series with his legs, it's going to be a long day for the Cardinals defense. You have to deploy a spy within this defense. You have to do a good job of containing. You'll rush up the middle, force him to roll out and make plays going towards the sideline versus running through the interior of the line of scrimmage and going up the middle of the field. I think that the pass rushers have to be disciplined. The linebackers have to be in position. This is low-key one of the toughest tasks of the season for Ron English, because last year you could not defend a mobile quarterback. 2023, into the season, you could not defend a mobile quarterback, and now you haven't had the the issue of having to deal with them in 2025, but now you do with Kyron Drones. So if you can take away some of the running lanes, if you get them in 3rd and long and force him to throw the football, force them to be one-dimensional, Louisville has a really good rushing defense, and Virginia Tech has a decent rushing offense. I think that traditionally running the football, running back between the tackles, Louisville's defense is going to show up. But it is, sorry, I've got itch on my nose. It's going to be a challenge to defend the quarterback. The second thing I think you need to do is you need to win the turnover battle. I feel like I bring this up all the damn time, but I've got to. Louisville, when they allow teams to stay in games, it's because you have unnecessary turnovers. Isaac Brown has been fumbling the football more than you would like. Miller Moss sometimes take risks that you're like, man, what are we doing here? And sometimes the offensive line doesn't give Miller Moss time to throw the football. Ball security has been an issue for the Cardinals. Now they have been able to take the ball away from other teams. So that has been something that you love to see with this team. They are 36 in the country with a +4 turnover margin, but Virginia Tech isn't a team that really forces a ton of turnovers. So you have to make them work for it, but they also turn the football over. They have a -5 turnover margin. That's 114th in the FBS. So winning the turnover battle is going to be critical to your efforts in not only winning this game, but trying to win by double digits and doing so comfortably. If you can take care of the football, if you can force turnovers, which your defense has been really good at doing, you're going to be in a very advantageous spot to win this game comfortably. But to play the devil's advocate, hypothetically, even if you force turnovers, if you turn the ball over yourself, you're going to give Virginia Tech opportunity to seize momentum. And it feels like, granted, in nature, turnovers are big momentum shifting plays, but for Louisville, they've just completely shot themselves in the foot with these turnovers this season. Double-digit leads that evaporate because you turn the ball over in your own territory. Driving down the field, putting the ball in harm's way unnecessarily. You see my point here. I think that the first thing is containing Kyron Drones. The second is winning that turnover battle. Which one is more important? Creating turnovers or limiting turnovers? I don't know that I could pick one. I think that they go hand in hand. I also think the third key to the game is getting into the red zone. Last week, the game against Virginia, the game against Bowling Green in the second half, Louisville's offense has gotten around midfield, but drives have stalled out, whether it's sacks, whether it's penalties, whether it has just completely not moving the sticks. That's been an issue for this offense that we don't talk about a ton, but getting into the red zone is advantageous already. It's even more when you hear these numbers. The Cardinals' red zone offense is 28th in the country. They score on 91% of their red zone opportunities. Boom, right there. That gives you an advantage. However, Virginia Tech is 134th in red zone defense. Every single time that an opponent has gotten into the red zone this season, they have scored. 100% of the time. I'm not joking there. 100% of the time when opponents get into Virginia Tech's defensive red zone, they score. They're 134th in the country. I think there's only 134, 136 that are even computed or compiled in these rankings. So it's smart to get in the red zone for your offense, who is pretty successful, but you're also going up against a defense that they just haven't stopped anyone. So stalling out around the 30, 40-yard line, this Cardinals offense, it's not been good. Maybe this is a game that, knowing what you know about Virginia Tech, maybe if you are in 4th and 2, 4th and 3 at the Virginia Tech 30-yard line, maybe you're prompted to go for it now, because you understand that if you could just get in the red zone, the numbers support you in a very, very lopsided way. So keys to victory in this game. I think it starts with defending the mobile quarterback. You have to contain Kyron Drones. You can't let him scramble and extend drives and series with his leg. Number two, I think you have to win the turnover battle. Stop with the unnecessary, unforced turnovers. They are killing this team. And you have to create turnovers, which Louisville's defense has done a really good job of doing, mainly through interceptions. They don't force a lot of fumbles, but they create a good amount of interceptions because they get pressure after the quarterback and they speed up a quarterback's internal clock. You also have to get in the red zone. You do extremely well when you do get inside the 20. Virginia Tech has not literally stopped a single opponent this year in the red zone. So those are the three keys to victory for me. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. But before we get out of here for the weekend, some unfortunate news. I won't say it's unexpected, but it's unfortunate. Kasean Pryor is out for the season opener against South Carolina State. There's an aspect of this that I'm worried about a little bit more now, and it has nothing to do with South Carolina State. We'll tell you what that is when we come back on this Friday edition of the Locked On Louisville podcast. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered the most. So let's break it down for the Louisville Cardinals. Even though he had a critical fumble in the second half, Isaac Brown delivered in a huge way. 200 yards on the ground on less than 15 carries. It's only the third time in program history that has happened. Isaac Brown continues to come through. No hesitation, no delay. And just like Isaac Brown delivered for the Cardinals, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period is good through November 18th. And also, while I have you, let's tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. The Cardinals 10.5-point favorites over Virginia Tech, but the NBA is also back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your line bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a larger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com. Sign up today and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Some unfortunate news in the men's basketball world, but I won't say it is completely unexpected. Confirmed earlier this week, Kasean Pryor has been ruled out for the Louisville season opener on Monday against South Carolina State. Of course, Kasean still recovering and rehabbing from that ACL tear that he sustained Thanksgiving week last year against Oklahoma. All offseason, we've heard that things are going to plan. Things are progressing smoothly in the way that they should. He has started to practice recently, and everything that we heard has been optimistic. And maybe I'll say that I have fallen victim to this. Maybe I took the fact that everything's going smoothly with this notion that he's going to be ready early on. Because what I was told when I asked about this, about Kasean Pryor and missing the first game, I was told that the plan was always for him to return in November. It was never one of those where, well, he's definitely going to be ready for the first game. So shame on me. I think that everyone just sort of subliminally and instinctively thought that he was going to be ready. And I know that ACL recoveries have progressed and they have transformed over the past couple of years with the new inventions and methods of modern medicine. But still, ACL tears are tough to deal with. Right? I mean, they are a long-term injury. And from what it's looking like is Louisville is prioritizing the long-term health and the longevity for Kasean Pryor. They're thinking, okay, getting him back in November, of course, would be great for that season opener, but we are thinking long run. We want to make sure that we don't rush anything and we play it safe and ease him back into playing. So he's out on Monday against South Carolina State. I don't think that you're at risk of losing this game without Kasean Pryor. But what I will say is that Kentucky's coming up on November 11th. My fear of him either missing this game or playing significantly limited minutes gets even larger. Like, I don't think you're going to see Kasean Pryor much in this game against Kentucky, if at all, because he's out for the game on November 3rd. November 11th is a day over a week later than Monday. So that Kentucky game is coming up very, very quickly. And I hate that it's on November 11th now. I don't like it because there's a chance you're not going to see Jalen Lowe. You might not see Jaden Quaitons. You might not see Kasean Pryor. And I want to see these teams at full strength playing each other. That's what I want to see. But, I mean, I don't know what to say, really. But my worries become more tangible. There's a larger risk that Kasean will either not play. Even if he does, he's going to be limited. So I think that you're going to see the coaching staff ease him into playing shape, ease him into action as we go through November. And my intuition and gut feeling is telling me that Kasean Pryor is going to be all ready to go, no minutes restrictions, full go some point in December, probably early December. And you're going to need him because, like I mentioned, and I got some a large blowback from this point that I was making. And I'm surprised by it. I made the case that in the first two exhibition games, the front court hasn't been great. And I also acknowledge the fact that it's early. These guys are playing with each other for the first time. They are adjusting to college basketball. It's okay to acknowledge what went wrong in a game and also understanding the large picture at the light at the end of the tunnel, suggesting that they are going to improve. But I think watching these games, yes, you're going to need more rim protection. Sananda Fru will give you that. But Khalifa and Zouguras, that's just not their game. I think Pryor gives you more rim protection. Versatility, stretching the floor. Fru can make the deep shot every now and again. Ali Khalifa can stretch the floor. Zouguras doesn't really give you much in terms of scoring. Kasean Pryor, I just think that his leadership on the court, the way he plays the game emotionally, it's going to just trickle down into the rotation, and you're going to see the team follow his lead. Kasean Pryor is a leader on and off the court. I'm hoping that he comes back full health and doesn't have many restrictions or adjustments that he needs to make, but it's going to be up to Vangelis Zouguras, Ali Khalifa, Sananda Fru, small ball, Kenai Roots, Javon Hadley. This group of guys are going to have to step up by committee, and I think that they're going to do that. I think you're going to see this team get better and better. This notion that you can't criticize games is wild to me. But it's crazy because not only did I criticize, I gave credit and also highlighted the fact that it's likely going to get better. Two things can be true at one time. Don't have to be extreme one way or the other. But it's pretty clear the front court does have to be solid early on in the season because you're going up against some solid front courts. Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, Cincinnati. List goes on. So you have the need for more front court production, like what I saw in the second half against Bucknell for Sananda Fru. I think that it's going to take some time, but these guys are going to adjust. That is going to wrap up this Friday edition of the show. Everyone have a great day. Have a great weekend. Thanks for making Locked on Louisville your first listen every day and part of your daily commute. Go Cards.